Starting a little earlier than I usually do because the wonders of unforeseen circumstances have arisen again, and they preventing me from being able to, I guess, go as far as I would like in terms of the length. So I'll shoot for an hour, but it might not make it that far. I don't know. It depends on if people have stuff to say, and if this person doesn't decide to go even faster to whatever we're supposed to be going to. It's funny. It actually was a fairly better week than I anticipated, um, primarily for one reason. So, anyone who's seen a good chunk of the live shows knows that I oftentimes have derided some of the practices of the voice actors because I think when you give people time to do something and when they're so lazy that they can't even write back a response to you after days or weeks, uh, nor record anything, it's almost like a double-handed slap where you get slapped twice. So what I did was I said, because in the past I have basically, for lack of a more wanting term, given up on particular parts of stuff where I don't have the lines for it. I took the script for an episode and I read all of the lines out and then started placing that in there. And I said, I'm doing this as because obviously, if I get the lines from these people, I'd have to go back and take them out. But I did this as a social experiment because I'd never done this before. And I'd also told someone that if I had all of the lines, I could literally do a new one every 2 weeks. And would you like to know how in less than, because this strategy started on Sunday, in less than a week of doing this, and I'm still, it's still technically it's less than a week because I have tomorrow morning will be the 1 week anniversary. I have more than half of an episode completed. And I said to myself, why can't it be like this in real as far as actually, the people that do this stuff. It was really disturbing that I could finish that much of it with, like basically taking my mindset away from the idea that these lines are not what actually is supposed to be the stuff that will be there if we get the voice actors to do their lines, which is the case. But I said I'm going to ignore that mindset. I'm going to just see how much of this can be finished with having lines to put in. And it's almost like I think 13 minutes or so. Like, Jesus Christ, because I didn't even think I was working that particularly hard on it. I just said I'm going to draw a certain number of images, and I'm also going to try to edit, like have a goalpost of editing. Allow me to be on for too long. That's right, Megumi. You can always watch it on the replay. This has been a surprisingly better than expected week because of the fact that I decided to do this social experiment where I recorded the lines that the voice actors are supposed to have, and I was able to finish more than half of this episode in a single. Because I saw when it went last Sunday, I had 1 minute of stuff, and now it's almost 13. So, all of those, by the way, except for I think three of them are about 20 minutes. Unbelievable. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I just can't believe that, like, this proves they are the reason that it takes so long to finish any of these. I mean, I've completely had to change the way I did these, starting with it was this summer where I said, if this pace continues of me sitting here waiting for these people to do their stuff, and then because that pushes back development of future ones that I've written, this will never, we won't see an ending to this until uh, the end of Trump's second term or something. Just some ridiculous length of time would go by if it was kept at the pace it used to be. And I'm glad I recognize it. Gumi, I'm so happy that you're going to do this. It warms my heart that you'll watch it afterward. It's a wondrous, terrific thing that you've bestowed upon me to see it at a later period. Because I actually have seen some comments where people will say, I don't watch anything that's live after it's not live. which I think is insane because if you like the person's stuff, what difference does it make if they're saying it? I guess it's a thing of being there, maybe, but I just to say you usually never or you don't, or I don't understand. Yeah. When you say out of my control, you mean the voice actor thing, or if people watch stuff in the replay? I just want to clarify. I want to make sure I know what you're saying. Because I've been making the point that there's only so much stuff content creators can do. I can pop out a video, and it doesn't mean the people who are subbed are going to watch it, and that's why it's always so um, irritating. Because what I'll oftentimes hear is that you need to improve upon blah 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 blah, but then I'll put a different type of title, and it'll get four times the views, or just some ungodly number compared to the usual thing. And I know it's not because those are any better made than the regular lineup of things. Just people have no interest. Yeah, Megumi, there are really, what ends up happening is there will be about half of them that are really good or that will do most of the stuff, and then there's like those one or two people, and they will derail it like crazy. I had one of them who did like all of it, right? And this other one hasn't even done a third of it. What is this? Oh, I remember. Oh, not now I recall. Well, you have the right to not show up. I can't. Again, I don't have control over if someone wants to see something or not. It's not really in my power to do that. I'd love to be able to be the puppet master and decree you will now show up on this stream, be here for X amount of time and at this hour, but it doesn't work like that. That relate that I don't know, Magumi, if you ever saw the romance. What was it called? It was like My Friend Confirms Romance Stupidity or something, but that's the one they're talking about. It was a really funny stream. I'm trying to see if me and him can do a sequel on it, a sequel of it, brother. 'Cause it's nice to have someone to go back and forth with and trade ideas with and whatnot. So he's really a bit of a character, but his thing is he's usually busy, and we don't. A lot of times when we actually see each other, it's not just sitting around like, oh hey, let's do a stream. But we'll probably get it next month. Yeah, he didn't really speak that much either. Is the funny part, but it's so nice to have another person there because you don't have to entirely think of it by yourself. If someone gets what I'm saying. This person says they love everyone, but then they act like they write a very hateful comment. That's false advertising. They should change their name to Loves Mostly Everyone, and then on their channel, what do you call it? The little the page, the about section. They can put the list of people that are excluded from their love. You only got two. I mean, if I was so bad, you wouldn't have showed back up. I actually did stop watching someone's stuff earlier this year, and I have to this date not clicked on any of their content, and I typed in their name because I mean what I say. When I'm through with someone, that's it. I told you, Megumi, that we're well, actually, no, you didn't. I did this recording because I mentioned that most of the stuff I put up during the week is stuff I record during the weekend. And there's a line in one of the videos where I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is a nation of hypocrites." It's like that's hypocritical. You don't come on someone's stuff that you hate. If you value your time. So what's a really entertaining thing? They always have an issue with someone. Told you, you can't, that's the thing about YouTube. It's an unstable website where I can literally get, and this has happened, get, like 2,000 views. Next video is like 100. But again, that's because people choose to come back on their own. I can't control that. And like I said before, a lot of people have actually they've really overinflated the role of the content creator. Like made us to have these mythical powers. It's anything but the case. Like for example, with the wide and approach video, that I didn't share it anywhere. I didn't recommend it to anyone. It just I woke up one day and it had a bunch of hits, for lack of a better term. I even have made this said this line before. I did everything possible to completely like not endorse that or promote it, and it ended up taking off. God, it's such a strange. And it's a really weird place, man. There are a lot of people on here that do things that don't make sense, and then the rest of us usually just sit back and react to it. So if I have someone who, for example, says your stuff is not worth viewing, but then they come and leave a comment, and apparently you watched it. And like I said, they talk about, I know you're not into the political stuff, but they say the intolerant left. But I'm not the one going after any of these right wing commentators. I'm not on Mark Levin's channel. I don't even think he has one, but I don't comment on anything that he's on. I don't comment on Shapiro's stuff. Oh yeah, Megumi, that is a whole different saga by itself. So I got kicked out of the server because I wouldn't be friends with the mod. It's like this dude is almost reached his second decade of living, and you're gonna tell me that I need to care and be concerned about his feelings? Like I'm just a computer dude. That's what all of us are to each other. We're just people online. Some of us are friendly to. I try to, for the most part, be that way. Um, Again, it gets a little tiring because sometimes you have people who purposely are, in what it seems, deliberately go out of their way to not understand what you're saying. When you do, just for an example, when you do the romance stuff and you say, some chicks do this, you'll still, and this is what that person got in trouble for last year, saying not all. And it's like I purposely say some or this group does this to emphasize that fact that there are people who don't do it, and it's like they have selective hearing, as if what you're saying to them appears in the transcript, and that one word that clarifies who you're talking about gets cut out. There was a woman that was upset about 3 years ago because her one of my colleagues had called her children had said they were bastard children because they were born illegitimately. And yeah, some chicks do this, and their response was not all. And I was like, I didn't even say that, but they don't care. But she got upset because he said that her children who were born of the wedlock were bastard children. It's a true term. Now, it's not a necessarily pleasant one to use, but I mean, being born of the wedlock doesn't automatically make you a bad person. It's the choices you make. And he said he was stating that as a matter of fact versus, some indictment on them, because there are a lot of factors that can make someone that. And he recognizes that the children are not in control of who the parents are, which is why it's all the more amusing. You get so upset over this term that this kid is being referred to, but you weren't proactive enough to make sure that you were married to the parents when they were born. It's a really entertaining contradiction. It seems to be becoming a lot more common these days. Oh, the selective hearing. Well, like I said, YouTube is the cornerstone of that because I've seen people put up like 10, 12-minute videos and they'll say one line and then someone will they'll write a whole paragraph about it. And sometimes what's even more disturbing is because I've mentioned before, I don't leave comments on stuff unless I've watched the entirety of the video because it's just, I think if you see something in full and you're actually engaged with it, you can usually remember what all you thought of. But I've seen people who actually write comments where they'll say, you said this line, this is why I don't like it, or they'll be more insulting. And the person they say it to says, "Didn't you watch the whole thing? I clarified at this point." And you're like, "Oh no, sorry." That's how they roll. There was actually a person who came on a stream I did, I think in September, and they said, "Why have you not mentioned?" It was a 50-minute stream, and they said, "Why haven't you mentioned something in the first 11 minutes?" Which basically, tells on them that they only watched a fifth of this before commenting. And I'm like, I'm not going to respond to that because you didn't even take the time to hear out my entire message. And no one's talking about making someone watch, 8, 9, 10 videos. But if you're going to comment on something and want me to read a whole paragraph of whatever, at the very least, see the entire thing. I don't think that's a benign request because you can pause the stuff. That's the beauty of YouTube. It's a 24/7 website. You can come on here in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, crack of dawn. It's that allows you to also be able to pause, and it'll save where you paused, or you can timestamp it and come back and watch it later. I think the only exceptions where I might not get annoyed by this if it's like some ridiculous huge length, like 2 or 3 hours, which to my knowledge I've never put up anything that was that long. Let's see. Roman says people want to find a problem and be right instead of admitting that they can be corrected. Hey, that was what happened with that person. But people are they're a bizarre mixture. That's why I try my best to keep I don't want to say a 10-foot pole or anything, but I usually try to stay away for the most part. Because it just like there are millions of people on this website. It's not my job to argue back with every single one of them that opposes what I'm saying or has a different problem with what is being articulated on my part. It's too tiring, or it's just it's too. It's like it's the equivalent of a guy saying, "I'm gonna go and uh, I don't know, capture or collect all dogs." It's like, there are millions of them. It's just you by yourself. You can't. This is too daunting of a task for one person to participate in. Envoy, you're supposed to leave because I only have two people watching. Because we all know that that hasn't happened on anyone's stream ever before. Oh, you don't see the count. Matter of fact, you know what? I can actually give me a second. So go into the server. I'm gonna post it in there since you don't see it apparently. And I'm not doubting that. I don't know if I didn't know for sure entirely if you were telling the truth, or rather if you were not being able to see it because the stuff was not reloading quickly enough. So go in the server. I'm posting in general. Now this is someone who hasn't commented on anything I've done in a year, and then they came back in here to write that filth. Let's see, and kept remind the viewers to not just post a response to the title without watching the video. Oh, I hate that. That's how me and that one Trump bootlicker got in a spat because I was commenting on him rescinding his decision to withdraw from Syria. And in the title, I was like, clown, because I was pissed off. I got all excited for his withdrawal, and while all these different members of both parties were upset. And I felt like an idiot for even believing that he was serious about it because he rescinded his decision, less than 2 months later before taking all the troops out. And one of his supporters was like, the title sounds like it's very Trump derangements. And it's, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you have an entire, what is that, 4 or 5 minute upload, and you're going to just sit here and, you know, talk about the title. Um, and asked me what did he lie about. I was like, he literally said just 2 months ago, his own words, unless someone hacked his Twitter, that he was going to withdraw from this country, and he didn't. No, that person. Remember but you were there. The romance stream with my friend, the romantic whatever. I They came on there, and I said something like, chicks do this, like not all, and I've said repeatedly throughout multiple streams that I don't include all, and they selective hearing. So I got annoyed, and they left, and It was just whatever because I was, you know, people on here that get pissed off at someone for saying something they didn't like are a dime a dozen. Um, it was just whatever. But they came back. What is that? 15, 16, 17 months later, and like left that comment earlier. I haven't seen that. No, they're on the Gomert the Goat video I did, the sequel to that. There's a guy who all the way toward the last minute left a comment where he says, "I just can't, I don't know how I got here," as if the video crash landed into his screen, and then says, "Who is this Gomer character?" As if I'm the only person who has access to Google. Like, tell me where I'm wrong for thinking that that's like you've disappeared for literally two. I actually looked his name up. He hasn't commented on anything I've posted since December of 2017. And you want me to acknowledge you? I told you that's why I don't like a lot of these different people that are on here because they want my way or the highway. Let me get rid of this thing. You will remain nameless, a brainless one. That was pretty insane. That's not the first time one of them did that, where they show up, months and months later to try and take attention away from whatever you're saying. I don't understand the people on here. Oh, that's why you only have two people watching. I had a stream, I think 2 weeks ago, where it was like 19. It was almost 20. But I don't own these people. I can't make them show up for a stream. I can't make them comment on anything. I don't know how I become the puppet master. Hell, I could make that person disappear and then show up a year later. Yeah, but if they took it to heart, why are they coming back a year later to whine about it? Well, if you make a bunch of streams and you go and say and go out of your way to clarify that you don't mean something, and then someone still accuses you of that exact same thing, it gets annoying after a while. It doesn't really matter who says it. Imagine doing 10 streams where you say I like Burger King, but I don't dislike McDonald's. And then after you do those 10 streams, you go, why do you hate on McDonald's? It's like, I just said I don't dislike them. I kind of am neutral. No, I don't understand these people. They have tried to really turn. I almost want to do. I should do a stream about that. They've tried to turn content creators into. I mean, they almost make me feel like Thanos. Always says, but that's what people do nowadays. They try and watch. They try and switch what you say to justify how they feel. It's ridiculous. Well, like I said, if I apparently don't know how they uh, retain attention. I don't get how I've been able to get half a million views overall. I don't understand what sort of pixie dust did I wave around to accomplish that. I don't even think it's a feat. It's just I don't buy this idea that because you left that was the beginning of the decline. It's like, no, man. Dude, everybody tries to inflate their importance. Like the guy who last year was like, "Should I unsub and make it to where you can't get 2,300?" Like, man, one person unsubbing is not going to change. Then most people, when they sub, don't even unsub anyway. And if they do, it doesn't matter. The more people you have, the less their subscription matters. What actually does matter is if people who watch this stuff, because remember what I said before, the retention rates for all these channels is pretty low. That's why TYT can have 4 million subs but can't even usually get 200,000 views on a video, or if they do, it's like once every couple of weeks or months. Um, you know, for example, if Envoy said, "I'm not going to see your stuff anymore," that would actually probably matter more than, like, if I had the option, would you rather have Envoy stop watching your stuff, or would you rather have 30 subs unsub, at the same time? I would pick the latter because they don't engage with the stuff. They're just a bunch of they're what's a good comparison? It'd be like if the military had 3,000 active soldiers and then only 100 get deployed every time, the same 100 over and over. The rest just sit there and fill up slots. They're not doing anything. They don't matter. And they don't matter because they're uh mentally inferior to the ones that participate. They don't matter because they don't participate. They don't make anything actually of impact. I did a top 5 sub video last year because I recognize people who have continuously been supportive or otherwise consistent with the backing of my content. That's why when that person left that, I could instantly recognize them, even though they haven't been on here in a year. I've actually been credited for having a pretty good memory, believe it or not. I didn't even have to write down any of this chick stuff. I could just sit there and talk about it because it's so ridiculous, and a lot of the stuff they do, it's unforgettable and how insane it is. The nature of this website. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy people on here, man. And like I said, it's for every one sub you get that actually watches all the stuff for most of it, you get 30 or 40 that, they might watch one thing a month or disappear here and there. Like I said before, I've been unsubbing from channels because I don't want to lie to myself and pretend that I'm interested in seeing their stuff and overinflate some number. And the ones that I am sub to, I've actually gone through and made a list of their videos and made out times where I could just steamroll through some of them. It's not hard to keep up with a lot of these people, especially, I had a guy who last year had said something to the effect of, "Oh, your stuff is so long and I can't watch it." It's like, sir, I do uploads that are in a lot of cases less than 5 minutes that you could probably watch an entire week of in less than half an hour. So let's dispel this fiction that everything is so massive in size and how will I see it? Subs are literally filler numbers, but I remember some YouTuber mentioning how subs are detrimental to the channel because the viewer count doesn't match, but it does get you up there with popularity. No, no, I don't dispute that they have a positive impact if you have a whole bunch of them, because I know at 100,000 you can email YouTube. So there's stuff that comes from having them, but what is the point of having a sub if they act like someone who is unsub for me or is not subbed? If they don't watch this stuff, they don't comment any of the videos. I don't get what gain I have from that person being here, other than them being, a number inflator. And like I said, when I go to TYT's page, I roll my eyes at the fact that they have 4 million, but they can't even get 200,000 most of the time. Not because I think their content is crappier or whatever. It's just, if you're not going to watch the stuff in those large numbers, get out. Same thing with PewDiePie. The guy has 90 million subs and can't even get 10 million of a video. So not even, I think it's like 5 or 6% of the subs are actually watching the stuff. That's horrible. And it doesn't matter. Him having 90 million only matters if he gets 90 million or something close to that. It's basically the equivalent of someone that has a ninth of that if they don't if the majority don't watch the stuff. The vast majority seem to act like that, and they're pretty much just filler to inflate the sub count. What I thought was really funny is I actually, like I said, I made a list of the different stuff people have put up, and I try to, even though I don't comment, I thumb it up because I actually enjoy it and find it to be of value and sometimes worth going back to. And usually someone says something that I think is worth a repeat viewing. But It's I don't understand these people, man. They're strange. So I said the website has so many weird things going on over here. I mean, you could look at the thing right now. We had seven, then we have five. I mean, it's unstable. But that's why, and even with the monetization thing, I actually am gonna try to record this upload probably, if not tonight, then next week, and go through and list the various instances where it's like 50% of the last 30 videos I did got demonetized. Um, and it doesn't really bother me that much because I'm only getting like what 10 cents or something. But you cannot swear. Like they have titles where if you put in a person's name, a certain person's name that rhymes with Rick Graney, they'll get you automatically. It's insane. Do you know about Election Guard? No. Please fill me in. I'm not like a lot of these people that pretend to know things that they don't. I'll admit when I'm unaware of something, because admitting something a problem is the first step to fixing it. That's why when I got into the political stuff back in 2013, I was said to have undergone this massive influx of information by the halfway point of the following year. That's just because I used the internet. I went and looked at certain stuff, and it was a utility because I was able to, just take advantage of something that people ignore all the time, which is, or which are rather, the tools they have in front of them to learn about pretty much anything they want. That's why I keep saying I don't consider myself to be some smart person. I just think I'm very patient and very organized. If I were to give myself any kind of round of applause, which I'm still reluctant to do. It's really funny, because they'll say, like with the chick stuff, oh, you lack confidence. But if you try to compliment yourself, oh, you're being so egotistical, you can't admit your faults and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, pick one. Which one is it? All right, Election Guards is Microsoft's new system to allegedly guard our political elections from being was hampered by a foreign countries. It has a network based in Israel. Oh, great. We've got the endorsement of was it Tel Aviv? You should have said it's at BB's base. God, I'm just so grossed out for these people. BB Land. Yeah, to go back to my point, I really have kind of hit the wall with like retention on streams, because I devised the purpose of the live show to say on every Saturday at 6, I'll do a stream for at least an hour. And that was purposely done because I wanted to allow people to be aware of if not the exact time, then something close to it. So, for example, I started early today because there's this thing I'm getting forced to go to. Um, but like, I can't make people who are aware of that show up all the time. I have multiple people I can think of. I don't say anybody's name because it's not a thing of, you in particular didn't fulfill your responsibility to my online crap. But if they don't show up, I don't really see how that's my fault. Especially if I give them I can see if I just abruptly Sunday stream out of nowhere. But they know about this and they choose not to show up, or they have a lot of times people have things pop up, and I've tried to empathize with that. And that's why it's so weird to be attacked over things that are out of my control. That's why I was going around comparing the voice actor situation to uh, the chick stuff, because when I had the 20 plus VAs I approached that either said no or just stopped responding abruptly, I did for a moment think maybe my thing just isn't good enough for these people. As far as there's a mass consensus that you are of a lesser quality than they are. But then I said to myself, this is literally a regurgitation and a repeat of the chick thing, because it's taking, well, in the case of voice actor stuff, it's taking something you made. In the case of the chick stuff, it's taking you and saying that because this person who, I don't think has any basis to critique you on the merit of something they've accomplished. Like there's some great, wondrous, judge of character or the quality of content is saying, you are beneath me because of all these problems that you have. But then you say to yourself, well, how the hell have I been able to live a productive and I'd say constructive existence? It doesn't, they don't mesh well together. Like I said, I think a lot of these people, both professionally and personally, have overinflated egos, and they're just too picky. Megumi says apparently it is. You possess powers to control your viewers to turn up to streams. Yeah, I click my heels, and then all of a sudden we're gonna get 15 people. According to the logic of that individual earlier, that individual, I could just picture when you typed it, you just like you had this enchanted, aggravated look. You're like that individual. I mean, I wonder what power I used to make her come back after a year. That was crazy. Was that my return for a cameo after no appearances for 15 months jutsu? Like, I don't understand. Will be the new no, oh no, he is he's doing that all on the basis of ego. Like Biden, even though he's fallen off a little bit, he still is polling in the top three. There's no reason for him to suspect that the moderate person is on the ropes. Like they were bringing up fundraising and saying, "Oh, it's he's drawn up in individual contributions," but I mean that's kind of a thing that people have periods they don't raise as much, except if you're Sanders or Warren. Yeah, Megumi found something amusing. Now, Ruben, I need you to answer me because I think you're a very smart individual. What powers can I use to summon more people here? So Todd wants Stacey Abrams to be Bloomberg's VP pick. That's such a lame ticket. It's like you're gonna pick two people who haven't even. I mean, the thing about the senators and the different members of the House is that at least you've seen them for a couple years now. Do the I'm anything but Trump thing. Like these two have just been completely MIA throughout all of this, and now they're getting propped up as the potential dream team to win back the White House. Give me a break. It's really insane. Also, I'm thinking of recording something about the Presley endorsement of Warren and how this is all part of her little not as progressive scam that she's been running for the last year or so. I read a while to think about that question. My first idea is make your titles and thumbnails clickbait. Yeah, like that's what I was thinking of doing every video instead of me actually being in it. There's a picture I draw of like some broad with some shirt with cleavage showing, and some boobs that are like the size of my head, or like my head with some other head next to it. It's sad, man. You can't just be honest about stuff anymore. Like when I was thinking about the because you had sent me the link to the Yemen stuff, I was like, man, this is such an interesting story. You have a poverty increase that almost is reaching 80% from this war, and that's like really a big thing to me because it literally means four-fifths of the people that are living over there are poor, and or rather not four-fifths. What am I saying? It's 75%, so it's three-fourths are poor, and like no one cares. I put that up, it's gonna get what, 20 views. Of course, I'll still do it anyway because it's something that I think is worth discussing, and I don't really see being talked about that much by the major progressive news outlets. But it's just It's sad that something like that I debate in my head, not because I don't find the story interesting, because I wonder if anyone will see it. And it's really weird too because it's like the only thing that has immunity out of all this stuff is the I think is the show, like where I'll do that no matter how many views it gets, because it's so fulfilling in and of itself. Put up with voice actor BS, all the all the little parlor tricks that go along with that. Put Trump with Putin in the thumbnail with "It's happening." The title. Oh, like it's happening. Three-fourths of the people in Yemen are in poverty or being projected to be in poverty by the end of next month. That's what I should do. I almost really want to do that just to see and then put hashtag Trump 2020 and uh, some other stuff relating to him. Kofefe and other phrases. I told you if I was really like not really caring of what I said and just wanted views and the attention of it, I would literally just make a MAGA account where all I do is like any anti-Trump story. I'm like, Trump was right to da, 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 and then go on Twitter and share it among the different. They would fall for that in a heartbeat because I've seen them start, like getting turned on by these, uh, let's just say, conservative minority people, and they're really in such a complicated space because I don't like when they get told they're betraying their ethnic group, and like that's ridiculous because I don't think because you're of one race you should all have the same ideology. But at the same token, they're saying stuff that I think is so dumb. I just like I avoid their content and pretty much anything that has to do with them. Oh man, I'll try to do the again, the Taft thing's taking longer because it's a more modern president. So I'll try to see if I can do the next two by the end of the month, definitely. Uh, Also, I'm gonna probably try to start getting some clips for when Biden inevitably drops out. And that I just already know that documentary is gonna be probably like 2 hours or three or something. It'll be massive because this was the guy, like him and Harris when they finally bite the dust. By the way, there's actually a TYT video that was done, I think, before the midterms, where Cenk predicted that the final four would be Sanders, Warren, Harris, and Gillibrand. And I just kept thinking to myself, he predicted a person who dropped out in like what 4 months or before the actual voting started would be in the top four. It's just so off. Like that reminds me of how he predicted that Rand would be the nominee against Hillary for the 2016 election. Just or when he did the video where he predicted Trump would resign soon in August of 2017. There are so many different instances where he predicts something that doesn't come to pass. Like I still keep hoping that I have a like why Trump won't get impeached stream from I think 2 years ago. I hope that not stream, I think it was an upload. But that might end up getting overturned. I'll be like, well, it still took him a while to do it, so I wasn't too far off. He still made it 75% through his term without, formally being impeached. You only had an inquiry. I meant for you to turn into a resistance YouTuber, and the title meant to imply Trump was finally getting impeached. It's happening. I think I have something kind of similar that was like the Trump impeachment inquiry begins. I'll probably. I do understand what you're saying, though. I only mentioned the conservative thing because I've seen a lot of these people who supposedly, don't like the way that they get like really turned on by conservative people that are of color. So I was saying that that would be funny if I did that as like a social experiment. I just want to make sure, is everyone enjoying themselves, or do I need to tell some knock knock jokes? Because apparently I'm not a quality YouTuber. We all know that the only videos that are only people on here who are actually entertaining all have 100,000 subs and get thousands of views every video. So I just have to. I want to make sure. Do I need to, I don't know, blow an air balloon, or what what sort of actions must I take to retain the audience? I'm very curious about that. I don't know if I'm good enough. My sense of worth has been destroyed by that comment that was written earlier. I didn't know people did that, where they just randomly show up on a channel that they haven't been on in like a year. Like, oh yeah, hey, what's up, man? Long time no see. This guy actually said that. So in One Piece, most of the major villains don't die because a lot of times they serve a further purpose. I don't know what Megumi is laughing at. He's probably watching someone else, because I could never be entertaining. That's something that for me to actually make people be amused, I think hell would have to freeze over. That's what she was getting along with in her little narrative. Yeah, it's been such an interesting past couple of weeks. We've had a guy write me almost 20 as what post in a stream, because I said I had one position he didn't agree with that actually wasn't a position. It was just a historical figure I liked. We've had this person come back after a year. We had a guy today come back who I haven't seen on anything in literally 23 months. Wow. And we want to throw something else in there for good measure. We had a voice actor who said at the start of the year, "Oh yeah, I don't leave projects without telling the person I'm on it that I'm leaving." And then when you send them an email, they don't respond ever. Oh, good. Are you enjoying this, or do I need to put on some music and start rapping? I don't know, man. People and the thing is, I watch some of the bigger, not necessarily. Well, they are, yeah, they are bigger, but I watch some of the like moderately sized, certainly larger than me places. I don't see where they're that amusing. Like I watched, and I'm not saying that we got to clarify. I'm not saying these people are boring. I'm not saying they're not good on their own. I'm just saying when I watch them, I don't feel as if what they're saying is really that different from what I'm saying, and I don't think it's really it's some overly spectacular production either. Just busy with the dog. Oh well, I hope it's good, and that it treats you right and you treat it right back, and it's man's best friend. So I'm wishing you all the best. I actually was going to do an upload about that, where uh, it's kind of like the sore loser stream, but it's like the title was something to the effect of, as it relates to chicks, don't wish the best. Something basically saying like how people will tell you, um, when you don't want to, when you're sick of someone, oh, wish them the best and good luck and all this like positive will. But like I said, I just don't get the purpose of being nice to people who have deliberately and purposefully um, gone out of their way or otherwise not assisted you in doing something that was in their power to do. And that might sound a little confusing. So it's like basically, if I say I want to get married and I talk to one broad and she says no, I'm like, all right, whatever. That's just one person who said something. But if I approach 90 or 100 and they all say no or they all disappear and whatnot, then I'm just going to say screw the entire group. I wish nothing good for them because they had the chance to afflict what I was doing in a positive way that forwarded what I was trying to do, and they didn't. And they willfully decided as a collective not to do this. And I'm not going to take that and then, like smile as you're punishing me for wanting to do something that I've seen millions of people do, or that millions of people have done rather. So maybe what I'm saying is getting about. I hope you understand what I'm conveying here. You don't deliberately do anything to these people. You just don't wish them all this goodwill stuff because I find that, well, again, I can talk about it later. I don't want to give too much away because it's going to be presented with examples and long term stuff and whatnot. Different posts that people have written across different websites. It'll be a nice little thing. Yeah, and like I said, I can kind of get where people like on a base level why they're selective with the romance stuff, even though again I think they're really picky. But when it's something as small as can you hit the like button, can you watch this video? I have no love for you because it's it's something that doesn't cost anything. It's something that is just with the flip of a switch, and they don't do it. And like that makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, especially when you know that doing that helps the person with the engagement. Uh, so the when someone still refuses to do it even after they know that it doesn't compute. I'm like one of those. It's like when you try to install PC stuff on the Mac, it doesn't work because you're. I'm perplexed as to how you could contradict yourself in such a way. Yeah, it was a just to reiterate because I love the repetition is key. It was a largely decent week um, because of what I said before, and if next week is anything like it, I can look forward to wrapping that thing up. But like I said, I really believe for a while maybe it's me being this lazy person, and I this week confirmed it's not. It is the voice actors 99% of the time for one. And again, just to restate why I say that, if I can do more than half of one of these installments in less than a week, when I have all of the, and I didn't actually have all the lines, I had placeholder lines. Um, I know it's not me. Like I literally said, I'm just gonna record all their stuff. I'm gonna see how much of this I do, and just look at it. And I was like, wow, we really did more than half. We did like 60% of it. My jaw dropped. And I'm not saying that as hyperbole. I got Envoy at one point, so I was hard on myself, whatever, but like this absolves me. It's just like with the chick thing where at first I thought when I was, like not isolated, but I didn't go online and really look up this stuff. I thought for a long time I was just this, stupid, ugly person that was not good enough for these broads and then or for any of them or whatever. And then I saw that they were doing this to my best friend, this other friend of mine, um, a guy who actually was I think that's a whole other story. But when you go on here and you see the different things people have written, I'm absolved that this completely goes along with my own position. Megumi says, "Don't forget about doing the Johnny Come Lately." So, oh yeah, that's coming as well. Again, I want it to be more than I just say something and whatnot. But obviously, your experience is your experience. Well, again, Envoy, I'm simply saying that I accept that there are certain things I can't do, but I would like to be satisfied with my own activities at the same token. There are incidents where I feel like I've said something or uh, done more on a particular day for some video or whatever, and it just those are times I'm like, yeah, I'm not. This is horrible. But as far as this chick stuff is concerned, the voice, I can't feel bad anymore. Now, I only feel bad for its negative effect on me, but when I go out and speak to, over a dozen people about a topic, and they keep doing the same thing, no matter if I heed the advice of the online, dating wizards, it, you know, I just can't feel bad anymore. Make a bunch of videos responding to dumb celebrity drama. Check if Markiplier, whoever got into some scandal, you will get more views that way. Well, I said before, the Yang stuff and the romance thing seem to be the key to that. I mean, his supporters, you put his name in the title, they flock. It's really crazy. I've never seen that, and I'm not trying to insult them for doing it. I've never seen, because when I, even as a Sanders supporter, I don't type his name in and try to look for stuff that people are putting up about him. Put this way, I don't usually overthink the romance slash chick stuff, and I can do well with the ladies. And I look at you and honestly think we're in the same ballpark in terms of maybe looks and other stuff. LOL. So my eyes, if I can get some, I'm sure you can. Well, again, I'm not. So maybe Megumi will understand this a little bit better. It's not a question of if you can ever get with someone at all. It's simply the amount of work that goes into what I just think are a group of people who are not worthy of doing all of these different things for. Like, no man should have to go to the mall every day and go online and look in the Reddit header and these other places to get with a broad, to maybe get with a broad. No one should have to text some woman and entertain her for 7, 8, 9, 10 months, uh, and have her talk about, oh, you're so funny, and oh, you look nice, and I'm all these little compliments, and then when they say I'm not interested, I have the right to be annoyed by that. But yeah, I've never said it was impossible to get with just anyone, because I said before, the Johnny come latelys, you go and you get money or you get something else that these people want, and they're going to they flock. But where the hell were they when you actually were coming up and trying to get that stuff? And that's why I said they want the rewards, but they don't want to be with the people who they claim to think so highly of, or otherwise want to now suddenly jump on the bandwagon of. That gets on my nerves, because I don't think a man should have to own, to be a millionaire, or half of half to get with someone. And like I said, this position has been forwarded by the fact that I've seen people who are financially worse off have been said that they're not as attractive as I am, which again, I'm not a distiller of who looks good or who doesn't. But when I see these people who don't have the stuff that I get told I need to have, or do the stuff I need to do, I don't buy it. I told you the contradiction of asking this broad 3 years ago, how did you get with, and this is someone who says, you need to work, you need to go out and talk to her. And you ask her, how did you get with your partner? Oh, he came up to me and said, I like you. And that's how we get. It's like, so he didn't do any work. And you're so dumb, you're not even self aware to realize that you're a walking, talking contradiction when it comes to this topic. But listen, even that that simplicity. I'm glad it was that simple for him. I just wish it wasn't so complicated for the other, percentage of the dudes dealing with this. Especially when it's not guaranteed and left up to chance. Well, that's why the dude approaching the chick feels so pointless, because chicks mostly, from what I've seen, reject the guy. So I kind of don't understand the point of going up to some random broad who's never signaled attraction to you, and you know hedging your bets. That's why the only ones I've spoken to in the last year have been the small, itty bitty, tiny group that has shown interest first, because that at least shows that they're interested to some extent. Uh, Again, it might not, and in a lot of cases, they do that thing that pisses me off, where I'm direct. I say, hey, when I'm on a date, whatever. Oh, well, I would like to speak to you in a call for maybe a month or a week, and then you can come over here. Like, come there for what? To hang out? Man, go away. Most of most of the big name left wing people on YouTube come from wealthy backgrounds. I'm not him, but it's still worth bringing up. Why they get thousands? Well, I said before that, in the case of someone like Jimmy, for example, who I think is genuinely funny. I like the content of. I enjoy. Um, I've gotten plenty of smiles from watching this stuff, but he's a person who came from a channel which was TYT that was bigger than his, and it still is bigger than his. It has millions of subs. So when he's getting 100,000 views or whatever, it's not really that hard to see, or at least admit it was easier for him because he, at least at the start, rode the coattails of someone else. And there's nothing wrong with getting help from someone that's bigger. Um, because the Rompel Cone thing, for example, that's a person who is on Jimmy's stuff all the time, and he's getting a couple hundred views after having, it's like 20,000, some number that's like in the, like a fifth of 100,000, I think. But that's my point, that I have my entire online thing has been from. Hold on a second. You got a jacket? Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. People are so. I don't. It's like, yes, yesterday I burned all of my jackets. I hope you enjoyed that little excerpt of the madness that we experience over here. Yesterday, I decided I'm just going to take all my coats and anything with long sleeves and turn them into the Human Torch. What's his name? The guy who could turn into fire from Codename Kids Next Door. Remember that was like, it was yellow eyes and he was a shadow. But yeah, I was saying that my whole online persona has been just it's from the ground up. I didn't have any person on here that was bigger that featured me, or uh, you know that I don't want to say wrote the coattails of, but got any kind of endorsement from. So it's been a much more difficult thing for someone like myself. Have you come across this? No, I have not. You can post a link to her channel. Do it in the server because I'm going to be more likely to see it in there if you do it there. But listen, I want some closing remarks because again, you just heard that, so they're trying to get ready to go to this thing. Anyone have anything left to say? Comments, statements, positions? Flame villain from his father. He is the main antagonist of that show. Oh, now I remember. Yeah, because the one that turns people old when he touches them is his father, which is grandfather. Now I remember. It's all coming back. I think I might have seen that movie this past summer, the summer before last, because I hadn't seen it since it initially came out. It was a nice little blast from the past. Or any last comments, statements, or concerns to state to me? Speak now or hold your peace until tomorrow or the next time you see a stream of mine. Oh, I remember Ruben. I recall now. I just didn't want to spoil it because somebody might like it. Yeah, I was surprised, Megumi. You gave me that false advertising. You're trying to scam me into thinking that you were only going to be around for a little bit. All right. Well, if no one has anything left to say, I'll end it. But I just want to make sure. I just want to state rather that you know I try to offer content. I try to regularly pump stuff out. I really do not need a lot of these clowns that write stuff, and I try to take it in stride, because really anything you do online can piss someone off. That's why so many different videos have some of the most innocent stuff will have dislikes on because a person needs to let you know that they don't like it. They can't just not watch it. They're so bothered by that being there. They have to, put their mark of disapproval. Um, so that's how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, any last comments? See you. Have a good night. All right, I appreciate it. I guess Envoy went to sleep early. He retired very quickly. All right, well, I'll do a stream tomorrow and on Monday, and then we'll have uploads throughout the rest of the week. So see you later. I'm about to go to hell. I mean, go to this wonderful restaurant.